before we start, I just want to acknowledge a few people that worked basically year-round on this event. And first, it's Katie Jolly. You want to raise your hand, Katie? And we also have Karen Evans and Don Reamer, but I think he's in another meeting and he'll be joining us very shortly. And although this is a day-and-a-half event, it really takes us all year round to put this event together. So I just want to acknowledge all of their hard work, and you'll also get a chance to meet some of the members who are sponsoring this event from Masco, Ford Motor Company, as well as Microsoft. And you know, if you have a conversation with them, they'll probably fill you in on how many meetings we had and the collaboration we had to put together. That was just a tremendous amount of work with the team members to make this event happen. And so with that, since I'm the director of the program, I can't miss an opportunity in terms of talking about transportation. I think everyone loves transportation. You have two images behind me that basically speak to a concept that was developed as an inspiration from Henry Ford with the snow machine. So I'll play for you just a 1-minute video, and you'll get a glimpse of what we do in our transportation design program. And it's also a good relationship in terms of people and movement. And with that, still getting used to the PowerPoint. So this is Jason Falinsky's, one of our students, with their interpretation of Henry Ford. So this is Henry Ford himself. So he created 10 of these tractors that were used in the up north in the UP for year-round logging. And you can see how deep the snow is. Can you dim the lights a little bit? The lights? Yeah, just a little bit. Oh. So we have lots of fun in the transportation design program. So we take concepts and we create a vision for it, and it really inspires others. Where this video was created, we also have a physical model over in our building where it really inspired a lot of engineers and scientists. When they saw this concept about a year ago, they actually started talking to the student about, well, let's go ahead and phase it out. So he wasn't even asking, and he already created a following for others. And I think that's the great thing, not only about design, but as well as innovation with what you do here today. And with that, I just have a couple more slides here to share with you today. Okay. So these two concepts were actually sister concepts, where we had two students that were inspired by Henry Ford's snow machine. And you could see the differences between the two different concepts. One that basically stayed more true to what the concept was initially, and then another one that basically just kept projecting out into the future. And this is just a good segue in terms of what design and innovation does. And so part of innovation, and typically when we talk about innovation, we're always thinking about the future. But there's also something to be said about other communities that exist around the world. And so I'm going to cover 4 examples just really quickly. So next time you have an opportunity where you read something in the paper, article, you have a discussion with someone, and they identify a gap in the community, that you can actually use it to not only innovate and create a product, but you can also use it and turn it into a business. So I'm going to use the example of a cooking stove, water, electricity, and washing clothes. So with a cooking stove, there's 43% of the global population, 3 billion people, that basically are still using fire pits as their source, heating source for cooking. And that's just, you know, it's really difficult to comprehend. You know, about 50% of the population around the world is still using this type of energy source. And so what this causes is just a lot of issues in terms of harmful smoke and the deforestation that occurs. And so here's someone that basically took a simple stove that was used in other parts of the world and created a product that's used for the community. So just because you know, we're in a developed country, that sometimes we also forget about our past. And so that was the image about, you see the stone in terms of the wheel, and then you see a future product. So it's not only thinking about the future, but it's also thinking about the people that are still living in the past, and so how do we help them and improve their lives. Here's another example of water. And a lot of these collections of examples that I put together are just things that I've read in the paper or people that I've met. And so as I started seeing these examples, I thought it's a really great collection. There's actually more to add to this, but due to the time, I'm just going to focus on these four. So again, transportation of water. There's women who are spending a tremendous amount of time, basically spending most of their days going to get fresh water for their family. And one of these individuals, basically at a university, came up with a concept where you take a barrel. So instead of carrying water on top of your head, spending so much time walking long distances, and even having a lot of health issues in terms of carrying water over your head with these large vases, to basically have a barrel that you just roll, and you have enough water for the whole week, so that way the family or the mother can concentrate as, you know, to do you know, focus on the home, or have even a part-time job to provide income for the family. So her focus is to basically produce this in the countries that she's going to be selling it in. Here's an example of electricity. I'm not sure if the slide is very well with the lights on, but it shows you, again, an example of where the electricity is predominantly used with the developed countries. And there's a large portion of the globe there that doesn't have electricity. You know, very similar to the cooking example, about almost 50% of the population. And some of you maybe already have heard or seen of some of this example, the socket, where Bill Clinton also became a major advocate of this. So it's not just the soccer ball that you kick around and creates electricity. You know, soccer in many of these countries, especially in the developing country, it's a cultural thing. It's a way of life in terms of playing sports and playing soccer. It's not just a sport for them. It's actually part of who they are in their fabric. So why not create something that they really enjoy doing and be able to power an energy source? And what that allows you to do is actually use it for different forms of electricity, whether if that's lights to be able to see at night, or if it's for mobile phones. A lot of these, even developing countries, they have cell phones, but they don't necessarily have the means of powering them up. So here's another really good example of someone making some initial steps to addressing some of those issues. And lastly is washing clothes. You know, here, I mean, most of us don't even think about washing clothes. We just, you know, use our appliances. And so you have people like this that are spending a tremendous amount of energy and time in doing something that you could design a very simple product like this, right? It looks like a cooler and basically has an internal mechanism that spins. And so what you do is you sit on it and you use your leg and you power it up, just like you see in the small illustration up there. And as you sit on it, you're actually just pressing down on it, and it just rotates it, and it washes your clothes. And this example I really like, because people who live in third world countries also have an interest and enjoyment for colors, fabrics, textures. And so, you know, the products that these companies are producing, they're not just producing, you know, a one color black product, but it actually has a lot of inspiration. And the inspiration comes from, if you look at the blanket or the garment that the woman's wearing, you know, they have a sense of pride and appreciation for that as well. And so it's companies not only coming up with products, but also taking them to the next level of integrating design and appreciation that all of us take for granted when we go to the stores and pick up on things. And so my concluding thoughts here is basically have fun. You know, with this event, it's a competition. You know, hopefully you show off some of the passion that you have and the reason why you guys are here. One of the things that Ivy League schools will basically sell you on in terms of going there is the fact that you'll have an opportunity to connect with others. And so all of you are coming from different backgrounds, so get an opportunity, although you guys are in teams and you guys are going to be competitive today, make sure that you get to meet some of these team members and connect with them. I'm not necessarily getting a commission from LinkedIn, but that's a good way to stay connected on a professional level. But make sure you guys exchange emails and get to know one another, and even some of your hobbies or interests, because you never know, you might leave, go to another company, and you'll remember this event where you met someone and they had an answer to a solution that you might be working on in the future. And lastly, just to innovate, right? So this competition is about innovation, and so we're really looking for all of your great ideas. And so all of these companies and the judges, you'll have an opportunity to meet some of them today and tomorrow, are really inspired to be supporting this event because of all of you that are sitting here in terms of the students. And so have fun, and thank you very much. And next I'm going to introduce Karen Evans.
Let's go leave that up there, because I agree. Well, I will add on to Keith by welcoming everyone. I'm Karen Evans. I'm the director of our undergraduate management programs here at Lawrence Tech. And to add to the thank yous for today, we have to also thank Keith for all of his efforts as the chair of this committee. It is a lot of hard work, and he's put in a lot of it over the year, along with Katie and Don. And I think and hope that this is going to be a really valuable experience for everybody, and that's our goal. This is the third year of us doing the Innovation Encounter here at Lawrence Technological University. Each year we hope it gets better and tighter and more interesting and valuable to you. At the end we'll be asking you for some feedback, and we really do take it to heart, and we do use it to make improvements for the future. So when that opportunity comes, absolutely please take advantage of it, whether you're returning next year or your classmates are, to compete. I'm really excited that we have this competition here as the director of our business programs. Here at Lawrence Tech, our undergraduate business programs are really unique in that they're interdisciplinary. All of our business students, by their senior year, do at least one substantial project with someone in another discipline, whether it's working in an architecture studio, advising some ideas for how the M1 rail line in Detroit could work out, or working with engineering students or our computer science students. Interdisciplinarity is so key, because in the future, there is no one siloed job where you only have to know one type of skill for the rest of your life. It doesn't exist. We all have to be agile, and we all have to adapt to the changing environments. And it's really exciting that you're here to participate in something that will challenge you to be agile. It'll challenge you to adapt. There's a lot of uncertainty with this competition, and that kind of freaks some people out. They're like, wait, hold on, I need exact directions, and I need an exact deliverable, and I just need to know, am I going to add 1 + 1 and get 2? What do I need to do? And I'll do it. That's not how it works. You're going to learn a lot of tools this afternoon to apply to solving the problem you're presented with, but the problem itself is very open-ended. And you guys might all come as teams with different approaches and interpretations of the problem, and that's going to be okay. And I'll overview that for you in just a moment. I wanted to give you just some general logistics, and then I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the competition will be like for the rest of the weekend that you're here with us. So you're going to have uncertainty, but you'll have a little bit of idea of what to expect. In terms of logistics, restrooms are just outside this room over here. We're going to be in this room all day today. This is where the workshop is. This is where dinner is going to be this evening, and where things will close for the evening. We'll also be back in here again tomorrow morning for the breakfast. So you won't have to go to anywhere strange tomorrow morning. You'll just come right back here. The breakfast will start right at 9 o'clock. So you'll have to pull yourself out of bed. And then the rest of the day tomorrow, between breakfast and dinner, will take place in the management building across the quadrangle. We'll walk over there with you tomorrow and get you all situated. You'll each have your own little classroom to do all your secret teamwork in. And then we'll be back here again for the dinner. So our campus isn't that big, but it is possible to get lost. So we're going to minimize those chances that you would potentially get lost. If you want to grab a pen real quick, I'm going to give you 2 phone numbers that may hopefully be something you don't need, but who knows what can happen, right? I'm going to give you the phone number for one of our organizers, Katie Jolly, who a lot of you communicated with in getting set up to come here today. And then I'm going to give you mine as well. And if you need anything, any questions at all, between now and Saturday, don't call us like next week or whatever. Then this is the numbers for you. So Katie is 248-830-7728. And then I'm Karen, and mine is 248-892-2213. So if you need anything, give us a call. We're going to be having, as you can see from the agenda, food throughout the weekend. You're having lunch now. There's dinner this evening, breakfast, lunch, and dinner tomorrow as well. There's some vending machines in the building we'll be in tomorrow. So if you need snacks, in the middle of the day to get you fueled, that opportunity will be available to you. Everything's indoors, so you don't have to worry about the weather. And that is it in terms of basic logistics I wanted to make sure we have out there for you. I'm going to briefly overview how things are going to work. We have a creativity workshop starting right after we hear from our keynote speaker. And you're going to need to really pay attention and gather all of the information that you receive. You have an empty folder that you were each given. That's to put all your information in from the workshop. Those tools are going to be things that you'll want to apply to solving the problem. You'll find out what the problem is over dinner. Our wonderful sponsors, Masco, will announce it to you. Listen very carefully to how they present the problem. You also get a paper. But always, anytime you're interacting with the judges at all this weekend, really listen to what they say. Because if the judges say something and then you don't perform that when you come in the room and you don't even acknowledge that you didn't hear that you heard them but went a different direction, they don't love that as much. So just a little tip for success is listening and asking questions. You're going to have a lot of touch points throughout the day tomorrow to get feedback on your work so far. And we'll kind of tell you what we're expecting for the first idea pitch at the end of the workshop today. But you'll have lots of opportunity to throw your ideas at the people who will be judging them and get feedback from the people who will be judging you and refine things along the way. So you're not going to be just turned loose and expected to come back later. So again, I am really excited that you are all here today. I think that this is going to be really rewarding. The purpose of having a competition like this is to get you to mingle with students who have similar interests to yours in terms of being innovative, being creative, who you might not otherwise meet. And it's also a chance to challenge yourself to take what you've already learned. You guys already know a lot of things from the schooling that you've had, the experiences you've had. The fact that you're even here today shows a lot about your character and your desire to kind of push yourself. And Albert Einstein says a new idea comes suddenly and in a rather intuitive way, but it's really nothing but an outcome of your earlier intellectual experience. And so that's what this weekend is about, taking your experiences that you've had, taking what you learned in the workshop today, and doing something really new with it and getting that idea and that spark. So I hope it's fun, it's going to be fast-paced, it's going to be engaging. I hope you are exhausted on Saturday night after this dinner. And welcome everyone, and I'm excited to bring up our keynote speaker, Chris Jankowski from Ford Global Technologies.
Hope you don't mind, I'm going to take my coat off. And I just came up with an innovation here, new coat hanger. So it's amazing what we think of when we need to get there. Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased that I could be the keynote speaker today and to be one of the judges. I'd hate to be one of the schools competing against this because there's a lot of tough competition out there. So a lot of great schools. I'd like to grab at least one candidate and hire him at Ford Motor Company. So it'd be great. I'm glad I'm just a judge, not in a competition. I'm the Director of Technology Commercialization and Licensing for Ford Motor Company, and it's under the Ford Global Technologies organization. Maybe you want to take a minute and write down my email and my cell number. Very important. I started passing around some of my business cards. I ran out at the last table, so I have some more tomorrow. But start collecting business cards. As Keith mentioned and everything, and as other people have mentioned to you in the past, some of your teachers, some of your coaches at school, your friends and relatives, it is invaluable. One of the things I want you to do with my business card is turn it over, and sometime this weekend, walk to a different table and introduce yourself to another student at a different school. get their contact information, make some acquaintances, and really start to know that person a little bit. It's amazing how valuable it is to have that data one day, because there's going to be something that comes up and it's like, oh, I wish I had that card. Or I'll tell you another reason why my card is important in a minute. So what is Ford Global Technologies? We're a wholly owned subsidiary of Ford Motor Company. I've been with Ford for 35 years, long time. Back in March of 1997, we decided instead of doing it in it was decentralized, the licensing and commercialization of technology. We decided to centralize it. It's under a separate organization. It's wholly owned by Ford. We're all Ford employees. And it's to better protect and manage the intellectual property for Ford Motor Company and its related brands. At that time, we had Jaguar, Land Rover, Mazda. We owned Volvo. All those other brands are now gone, and all we have is Ford vehicles and Lincoln vehicles. But we're similar to the IBM model. Back in around that same time frame, our president CEO, Alex Trotman, for Ford Motor Company, sat on a board of directors for IBM. And he saw that IBM made $1 billion in commercializing its technology out to others. Now, some of it's wood nickel because of the intercompany transfers that occurred between IBM and their subsidiaries. But what we're trying to do is generate $1 billion in licensing our technology out or commercializing our technology out to others that is not intercompany. So it's a big objective. I've been working on this since March of 1997. I actually formed this group to get this going. It consists of IP attorneys, patent agents, engineers, business personnel working closely together with Ford product development, R&AE, manufacturing, IT, and other activities. Even HR has stuff. And they have performance reviews that they developed actually with Ellen Molly, our current president and CEO, that is now being used by other companies. And we've licensed it out. We've commercialized our performance review process and our methodologies, and it's being used by other Fortune 500 companies. We're able to take that money, put it back into the business of Ford. By the way, the way we're organized is we report, my president and CEO reports back to Paul Mascarenas, the Chief Technical Officer for Ford, as well as like Raj Nair, the Chief Engineer for Product Development. Manufacturing's under there. I've got several bosses because I also report to all the various organizations at Ford on a dotted line basis. And we've got offices around the world. By the way, my slides, when I was told that I was going to give the keynote speech, I had these wonderful slides, 100 different slides I had. And I went to the corporate affairs office because they have to look over, the PR folks have to look over everything, and they said, can't use this one, can't use this one. So I'm now down to 40 slides, no pictures really. All the great pictures that were in here are actually been deleted, so we have the corporate PR folks to thank for that, but hopefully you'll see it very informative. So now what it is, it's a lecture. So it's going to be a little dry, a little boring, but hopefully, even if you only pick up, I'm going to talk fast because I do have a lot of slides, and I want to give you as much information as you can, because even if you only retain 10% of it, it's something that you had before you walked in here today. What is intellectual property? It's products of the mind, intangible assets with potential significant value. The IP includes design patents, and design patents are like these, stylings and designs, utility patents, and I'll get into what those are in a little bit, trade secrets, manufacturing processes, copyrights, trademarks, know-how. All this intellectual property that's maintained by all these Fortune 500 companies, even these small sole proprietors, it's valuable, and a lot of it is not put on the balance sheet of the company. It's below the line, doesn't get reported, and it's very valuable data, and it helps you to conduct your business operations. What does FGTL manage today? Approximately 12,000 patents. When we owned all those other car companies I mentioned earlier, our portfolio was upwards of $22,000. So you can imagine how many Ford has. We have 12,000. We have 16,000 different trademark registrations, 4,200 active IP license agreements. I do also joint development, so when we're trying to do partnering, put different companies together in different industries working with us to bring something out for the automotive, we can put those deals together. We do the engineering, business, and legal agreements and the negotiations and the team building, and we take it from cradle to grave. So just imagine what my staff has to do every day, 4,200 agreements. We don't do currently tech transfer, but it's coming. I get to work with a lot of different companies, Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, universities, angel investors. Would you believe I've had the opportunity to sit across and talk to Bill Gates? In fact, I asked him for 3 of his business cards. One I could put in my office that I could put with other high influential people I've talked to over the years. One I put in my wallet, so if I ever needed anything, I could call him. And then 3, one that I could have so I could say, hey, I met Bill Gates. So business cards, again, are very important. Contacting, connecting, the partnering is going to be the way of the future here. And I can't stress that more. What do? We create the value proposition for the Ford Motor Company. We try to reduce costs, bring out the best inventions, reduce investment, try to reduce weight. The EPA ratings of what we're going to have to achieve from the federal government in the U.S. is astronomical. Every OEM is scrambling to try to make 50, 60, 70 miles a gallon, 50 to 75 miles per gallon fuel ratings in the future. We try to bring green technologies together. We try to get the technology to the market faster. We assist in keeping Ford technology as a leader, being a leader. What are design patents? Here goes my lecture. Design patents are the patents that protect the aesthetic appearance of an article. And what some of those things are like the fenders or the grill. There's some famous court cases you'll hear where Hummer sued Jeep for design infringement on their grill. They won. What are other reasons why we do it? We do patent because stylings are important to us. It dictates the DNA of Ford Motor Company brands. If you look, a lot of our vehicles have the 3-bar design on the front end. Now, if you look at some of the vehicles coming out, there's no bars, they're gone. So we tried to move everybody so that when you looked at a Ford vehicle out there, you knew it was a Ford. And you knew what it stood for. But grills are protectable, fenders are protectable. You know another reason why we went out and started doing design patents? Not only for the DNA for the company, which is very important, but also to protect our business from collision parts. There are a lot of collision parts coming into the States that were made in Asia, in the overseas countries where the parts were inferior. You know, somebody would get in an accident, the insurance company would try to use these aftermarket parts, and they found out they didn't hold up. They didn't hold up. In fact, there's so many studies, like I had that in here, they took that out. So my legal guys took that one out, I couldn't show it. But it actually helped us to stop all these copycat parts coming into the States and being inferior and not holding up on collision. And we found people getting killed. It's like, wow, what happened to that vehicle? How come our vehicle failed? We started looking at these were aftermarket parts. These were copycat parts that were made for a fraction of the cost. Instead of being a thick gauge metal material or steel on various of these parts, they were 1/10 of it. So design patents we found were very useful. Keep that in the back of your mind. You might work for another car company and you can say, that guy from Ford gave us a great idea over at another car company. A design patent covers the ornamental, non-functional design of an item. It can be invalidated if the design has practical utility, the shape of a gear. Design patents are valid for 14 years from the date of issue, and there's no maintenance fees on design patents. Why am I telling you all about this? Because we'd like you to take your inventions and protect it, because that's going to be your way of the future. It's going to give you some leverage to work with another party, or to work even to do something in your job in another company. You may find that something you bring to the party may have a lot of value if you got it protected. There's no maintenance fees with design patents. As I mentioned, these are grills and so on. The F-Series truck, in fact, we actually went after all these copycat infringers on the F-Series truck. We used to make 1 million vehicles, pickup trucks a year. And just think how many accidents occur on those vehicles and how many parts were coming in that were inferior. And then somebody would try to sell, the resale value wasn't as high because it used inferior parts. And when they found out through some of these other sources that you can go online now in the internet, people didn't want those vehicles. It brought our vehicles down. And we're finding, we actually went to the ITC, the International Trade Commission, and worked with them. And now all the other OEMs are doing the same thing. They're trying to create legislation to get these crappy parts off the streets. What's a utility patent? A utility, in short, it defines a problem. You basically define a problem and you solve a problem. If you look to the right here, there's a utility patent related to the inflatable seatbelt, relatively new. It went in the Explorer vehicle first as a people-carrying vehicle. It's now official on the 2013 Ford Flex vehicle and the 2013 it's going to be on the Flex and the Fusion and several, and it's going to go on some of these other the other models. In fact, we've gotten contacts from several companies in Germany and elsewhere that are OEMs that want to use our technology to put inflatable belts in the back in the rear seat. We even find as part of SEMA, there's a SEMA show coming up in Las Vegas. It's the last week of October. It's an aftermarket specialty equipment manufacturers association where people come and you can buy all kinds of aftermarket parts. A lot of those folks want to even use some of that stuff in when they rebuild a 1960s vehicle. They want to put in seatbelt systems, and we've been contacted by groups like the tour bus industry trying to retrofit our system, our technology into these tour buses so that it better protects the occupants. So it's amazing how this technology can be used elsewhere. And what we do is we generate the revenue and we put that money back into the business. We create royalty reinvestment spending credits back to the business units. So if we license or commercialize some of that technology out to others, it goes back into that safety group so they can develop new technology. It helps offset all their added starter cost. Manufacturing, utility patents, by the way, basically with the law changes as of '94, they're now up to 20 years. I mentioned design are 14-year patents. These are 20-year patents. Manufacturing patents also have a 20-year life now from the filing or the priority date of the application. Here's one where we've developed some technology where instead of using chemicals to clean the glass before you install it into the vehicle in the assembly plant, you basically use plasma, and it saves on, it eliminates really the primer and reduces VOCs in the plant and in the environment. Very important. We constantly look at where we stand versus everybody else, not only in our industry, but in other industries. And this is one of many slides. What are some of the risk, some of the innovation risk and opportunities facing Ford in the auto industry? I'm just going to read through a couple. Can Ford continue to be a recognized leader as a technology leader? Can Ford achieve automotive leadership? Should Toyota and other OEMs continue to invent technology at their current rate? It's amazing what some of these companies are inventing. You know, our staffs are a lot different than they were 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. And, you know, innovation is supposed to rapidly grow in the automotive industry over the next 10 years. So just think about the rapid pace that's occurred from when Henry Ford first started to where it's at today. They're saying that what took 30, 40 years to develop is going to be done in 3 to 4 years. So it's amazing and it seems like the mobility, electronics is crossing, you know, everybody wants to be connected in their vehicle. They want to talk, you know, on the phone or talk, you know, hands-free. They want to be connected to the society. They want to answer emails when they're driving. So it's amazing how the industries are kind of melting together a little bit. You know, we've got, for the first time, companies like Google entering the automotive space. They have autonomous vehicles, vehicles that run themselves. One day you'll be able to get into the vehicle. There goes one of my great slides. One day you'll be able to get in the vehicle and it won't even look like you're inside of your car today. You'll sit and you may be conversing in a family room situation on like a couch type of thing, and you'll be able to talk, get on the freeway, all of a sudden you're talking with your rear passengers, and the car is going to drive itself, and then when you get off the freeway, you'll take the controls over again. Still, vehicles are a personal thing. People love, they have a love-hate relationship with their car. They either love it or they hate it. And it's like the other things in the fashion industry, or it's one of the products that people want the individuality in. And that's driving us to constantly grow and improve the way we invent. Green technologies, you know, we talked a little bit about, you know, how gas mileage is going to have to be to a certain level. All of us are down here, the level's up here. You know, how can you get and remain competitive? You've got to leapfrog over everybody and even over the bare minimums, and you've got to be able to bring out a vehicle that's going to run on water, say. So it'll be amazing to see what happens in terms of change over the next. You're our future, and that's why I'm glad to be here to kind of give you a little bit of what we know, what we're doing, and hopefully instill some of those drives that you have internally to yourself to really drive your own businesses, because you'll find that one day, whether you work in the electronics industry or the housing industry, that they're going to cross. You know, you'll be able to be driving home one day and the car will know that you're not feeling well, that you've had a stressful day. It's going to turn on your favorite music. It's going to turn on your lights by the time you get home. It might even open up the door to let your dog out, so that by the time you do get home, you'll have that much less stress in your life. What's the best way to off some of these risks? The best way to predict the future is to invent it. Save that quote. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. We need to have innovation continuously in our pipeline on part of what makes us today and continues to make Ford great in the future. We need to obsolete our own products and processes before our competition does it for us. Henry Ford was an inventor of 161 patents. You know how he got the business started? Basically, he ran a race in Europe with his GT40 vehicle, and then he had a bunch of patents, and he got investors invest in the company, and then he bought them all out. It's our turn to do the same thing. You know, one of the things we find is that you're doing something, or you see some kind of invention, and you see another invention. If you can combine the two together and create the bridge for it, you can most likely patent that bridge piece of it. And all of a sudden, you've got a new technology. So something even you're doing at school, or something in your locker, or something in your dorm room, you may be able to create and invent the future. Here goes the boring stuff. U.S. patent law, we call them the 101, the 102, and the 103. It's amazing how much time we spent back and forth with litigation on various patent matters. The 102. The 102, a patent application is filed for or before the invention is publicly disclosed. When you come up with something, in fact, when you're sitting in here today, always carry with you. I don't know if your teachers have told you. I would like, maybe I want to stop for a minute. How many engineers in the room? How many business people in the room? So we have a few. Get to know the business people, because you can't do anything else. Engineers can't do anything unless they have the business people part of their team. So make sure you're connected. It's amazing how 100 years we've been in business, over 100 years, and we still go back and make sure we got to tie in with the business folks. So the 102, one of the things we always tell our engineers when I first started, I have an undergrad degree in engineering, master's degree in business, and then MBA in strategic planning, MBA in finance, and then also a law degree. But close to a law degree. I never finished, so I can't say I have a law degree. I just went through the classes and never completed. I was like 2 or 3 classes shy of the getting my degree. But the key thing, everywhere you go, carry a notebook with you. Carry something you can write on. Make notes. Come up with ideas, put them down. Things to-do list, whatever it is. You want to carry something and be able to start documenting when you come up with an innovation. Start writing it down so that as you sit down and you come up with an idea, you can refer back to those notes. It can also be part of the documentation you pull together to prosecute the patent. So it's very important to always carry a notebook with you. Also for things to do lists, even just for the home environment. Who's an inventor? An inventor is someone who contributes to the solution, a group of people who work together and who each contribute to the solution. Under the law, you're not an inventor unless you invent. So if you have 10 people sitting in a room and you come up with an idea, make sure all 10 of you invented something as part of that you were working together. You don't want anybody coming for the free ride, because under the law, that person can be knocked out and can be invalidated, and the whole patent could be disregarded, and the whole patent application could be refused and not issued then. Whether it's the United States Patent Office or the Japan Patent Office or any of the other patent offices around the world. Who's not an inventor? A manager who does not contribute to the solution. A team member who is in the room when the solution concept was formed but who does not contribute to the solution. You don't want any free riders, because it's going to hurt you. A team member who simply points out the problems but doesn't have the solution in mind. By the way, this is our Ford website where we actually manage all of our inventions and technology throughout Ford Motor Company. And if you look to the right, joint development agreements, license agreements, key on those hot links, they're sent to me, the people that want to do those kind of things. If you want to do something about copyright information or about disclosures, how you disclose something to someone, you always want to make sure you have a confidential disclosure agreement before you start disclosing an innovation to someone. The clock starts to tick as soon as you start showing it around in the public, and you have 1 year to file a patent application. Very important to not lose sight of that. By the way, this system, we call it the Inaqua system. It was so good that when we developed with a company out of the United Kingdom, it was a British tobacco company. They had a need for developing how to manage trademarks. We had a need of how do we manage intellectual property related to patents, copyrights, trade secrets, and so on. We joined our forces. We partnered. They were the experts in the trademark area. We were kind of more the experts in the other IP side. We put it together, and actually companies like Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Kimberly-Clark, HP and others have taken licenses to use our technology. So it's amazing what gets developed that used to support the business that's also very valuable. And you may be one of the inventors on that one day. I'm not going to go through too much of this. We actually have patent committees made up of representatives, just like you guys have. The patent teams that we have, the review teams, are made up of engineers that sit in that environment. So if it's safety patent committee, the safety engineers, some of the safety engineers sit on that team. We have some business people sit on a team. We also have people in a completely different discipline in engineering sit on it. So we have a different set of eyes looking at it from a different angle. We rank high, medium, and low. We meet monthly. We have a total of 12 different patent teams within Ford to address vehicle-related IP. And then I also get pulled in a lot of this to provide my input of whether the business perspective makes sense. I've been doing this for 35 years, and I've worked in business planning before, product planning. For the last 25 of my 35 years with Ford has been specifically devoted to commercializing technology inside of Ford and outside of Ford. So I've had, to give you kind of a little bit of history too, the The first airbag, I sat with the engineers that developed the first airbag that went on Ford vehicles. And in fact, we needed to prove them out, so we contacted the Dearborn Police Department. The city of Dearborn has a police department that's had a large fleet. We actually donated the cars that we would have nearby. They were actually town car police cars. So they were driving around for a couple years, and we were proving them out because they hit curbs at 40 miles an hour chasing somebody, and we found that was very useful. I had an opportunity. It's amazing the talent that these were young guys that came out of the safety group, and I worked with them. And when Princess Di got in a car accident, we were asked by the French government to help to bring some engineers to Europe to see if we could help recreate the scene of that accident when that Mercedes-Benz got crumpled up under the bridge or under in France there. And our guys were unbelievable how intelligent they were. Young guys out of school, 3-4 years, but they had a lot of training. They started getting into electronics very early. We have engineers that worked 30 years in airbag development, and they were holding hands with these other guys, men and women, trying to help to recreate the scene of the accident. Some patent making considerations. One of the things we look at is is this invention, could this invention go into production? Does it provide us with a competitive advantage? These are things you want to consider as you start to invent. Does it have clear licensing potential? Does it significantly improve cost, performance, weight? Is it green? Prototypes that have been built, are there prototypes that have been built and tested? What is the patent coverage? Is it broad or very narrow? If you have a narrow scope, it may not be worth patenting. And those are some of the things we look at. So kind of keep that in your mind as you start to invent things. What is not patentable? Its prior art shows that the invention is not new or not obvious, or non-obvious, I should say. A patent, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that it's no more than 1 year since the invention has been publicly disclosed someplace. The invention is not complete, and so on. Sometimes we turn them from patents into defensive publications, so nobody can come after us if somebody comes up and tries to patent that same idea, or we use it as a trade secret. And we find just like trade secret, Coca-Cola has a trade secret for their formula, we have a lot of trade secrets and a lot of different pieces of the vehicle that when things happen, we kind of use those trade secrets to our advantage to license those to the other company when we may want something from that other company. Getting a U.S. patent is much more difficult today than it was years ago. You can kind of see that it's fell like a drop. So I don't know if you could see the numbers there, but from 1975, you can kind of see that it's been on a high going up, and now all of a sudden it's dropped out. So not only in the U.S. but everywhere. So all the different, we file in Europe, the various countries in Europe, Japan, we call them the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, South Africa, South America. It's amazing where we file patent applications. Proving patentability, our attorneys are pretty busy. They must prove to one or more patent offices that the invention qualifies for a patent. So we get a U.S. patent, maybe we get it go. All of a sudden we're doing something in Germany and we can get that same patent issued. And we may spend more time on trying to get that market covered than say another patent. So it's amazing, but you got to go to each individual. Now the European countries are such that you can do one-stop shopping. You can go to EP, the EP patent office. It's several European countries have joined forces, and if the case gets prosecuted at this EP level, then it automatically gets issued throughout the various associated countries that are part of that EP. Questions about, I'm not going to roll through some of this so I don't run out of time here. There's questions that we ask always about the solutions. Maybe we'll be asking some of those as we start to kind of walk around today and tomorrow. I won't give you all the secrets away today. we talked about trade secret protection versus patents. There are a lot of value in these trade secrets. If you keep them close to your chest, you play those cards later when you have to. We've increased, by the way, our incentive awards specifically related to technology. In fact, most companies have it such that when you come to a company, when you sign your employment agreement, you sign an agreement that basically says anything you invent while on the job working in this company, the company owns it. Well, we still do that, and most other companies do the same. However, in the U.S., we've decided that if we're able to license some of this out, we want that employee to benefit as well. So now we're creating 30% of royalty income received up to a maximum award of $50,000 to be divided among the named inventors. So if we have 2 inventors, each one, if we can make the money, they'll get $25,000 in their paycheck. Everybody's got to win, and it's all about winning and partnering. The company wins by generating incremental revenue when we license, commercialize technology to others. We get our technology and then become hopefully the industry standard out there. The airbag deactivation switch we had on pickup trucks for a while was a simple design where before they had seat sensing to determine if an infant was in a pickup truck in the passenger seat. We had a shut-off switch with a key. You used the key for the ignition, you used in the shut-off switch, and you turned it in such a way that it was either on or off, and if there was a crash, we could actually go back and look at the electronics in the vehicle and determine if it was left on the on position or if it was actually turned off. And so many, it was a simple one patent that, and we don't gouge for patents when we license safety technology out to others. We actually license it to all the other OEMs in the country. Even our annoying, sometimes we call it the annoying seatbelt chime. If you don't have your seatbelt on, the bell, for those of you who have Ford vehicles, we'll keep hearing the bell go off and then shut off shortly thereafter. That chime is used by a lot of our competitors. And we license it out because we want to be a good corporate citizen. We want to protect the lives of others. And what we found is through all the studies, even the federal government found that when that chime went off, people who didn't have their seatbelt on actually connected their belt. So we wanted to help save lives, whether they were driving a Ford vehicle or not. So it's amazing the technology that comes out. But for safety or green technology, we try to put that in and not charge a royalty fee or a very low minimal royalty fee to make things happen. We didn't talk a whole lot about copyrights, but it protects expression of idea. Anything you do is automatically copyrighted at Ford. Same thing today, what you do. You can actually also go to the Copyright Office in the United States and get a formal copyright notice, but you don't need it. We find we develop a lot of this stuff, and it's used for processes, procedures, and things that can help not only our company out, but help other companies, and it's very valuable data that can be used and sold and licensed to others. In fact, we have a record retention policy that there's 3 companies in different industries, 3 different industries that use our record retention policy of when to throw documents away or when to keep documents. And it's a formal process, an automated system, and people have to interact with it, the employees, but it helps to make sure that those documents you need to maintain are kept, those documents that don't. It's people in the healthcare industry that are using this stuff. People that are in the electronics industry are using our stuff. So it's amazing what you may develop one day on your job. Even if you're a business person working in a finance function, you may come up with a new spreadsheet that may be very valuable to someone else. Trademarks, I won't talk about trademarks today, but it identifies the sorts of goods or services. The key thing there is to be creative. We find that putting it on windshields or other places really makes a difference, not only to protect our trademarks and to show the brand and the DNA, but also to protect. It's another way of protecting from other people using your designs on something unique. We talked a little bit about, you saw the film strip, about the old Ford snow remover, and then Keith showed you kind of the high-tech one. Would you believe several companies have contacted us that do snow grooming throughout the world contacted us to try to use our sync technology. I don't know if a lot of you know about the sync, but it's being able to talk in a vehicle hands-free and communicate and use your MP3 player and other technology in the vehicle. And they want to use it in their snow machines, snow grooming machines, in various countries, so that when their drivers are out in the middle of the night, and if they get stranded or whatever, they have a means of communicating back to their home office and having things happen. So it's amazing how something that's get to develop an industry can be put into another industry immediately. Confidential disclosure, we talked a little bit about. I'll leave through that. Now a little bit of the fun stuff. We did, what are we doing in terms of trying to commercialize technology further within Ford? Well, it's a standard, you know, this is still a contact sport. You got to make contact with other folks. As I mentioned, networking is so important. It's amazing how, you know, we've done something for someone else that comes back and helps us. So when we're doing something on the FAA contacted us on something, and we were able to help them on looking at an issue with an airplane. Well, nobody forgot about that, and we had a problem. As soon as we contacted them, we had the right parties working together. They contacted the people in their organization, and overnight we were able to make strides in resolving the issue. We've got a new Silicon Valley research laboratory that we just launched in January. What else are we doing? We're also, as I mentioned earlier, about a royalty reinvestment spending credit. We're trying to, whatever revenue we generate, we put back into the business. It helps the various units around the company to create new technology. And we're also trying to put some of the money for early stage Ford startups. So it's amazing, as you can see here. This was one of the key slides I was able to keep. So, but as you can see, what's changing, you know, even the way the steering wheel is and what's behind the seats, what some of the thoughts we have of what are we trying to do inside of a vehicle down the road. What else are we doing? We helped to bring Tech Shop to Detroit from Silicon Valley. Think of it as a Lifetime Fitness for geeks, but it's basically a place where you can go and rent somebody else's tools. You pay this membership, monthly membership. You can either have a yearly membership, monthly membership, semi-annual membership, whatever you want. You go in, you use their tools, and you develop your invention. We use it for our engineers to have them go out and play. We want them to go play. In fact, one of the companies, 3M, is very well known for having an employee get lost for 10% of their time a year. They're told on actually 3M, it's a great, we work very closely with 3M, but they announced this previously where they have their employees go off and have fun for 10% of their time on the job. Basically, they use that time to invent new technology for 3M. So what we're doing here with Tech Shop is we provided a resource, a different prototype shop than the one we have inside of Ford, for these engineers to go out and, you know, whether they've had a hard day at work, they want to go off and kind of play with something they want to build at home, they can actually go and, in fact, somebody that invents something that fills out a patent invention, we call it an invention disclosure document. We actually give them a free membership to this tech shop for 6 months to have them go out and have fun. So whether they're working on that invention or something they want to do at home, they have laser cutters, all kinds of stuff. And we found that it's more open innovation. It's helping everybody kind of talk together. Because all of a sudden the engineers that are there are working with somebody that was a sole inventor, may have come up with something other than they're talking. Used a laser cutter to cut a steel sign as part of the grand opening. We've got 2 different initiatives we're working on. We're supporting the Auto Harvest. David Cole in the automotive industry for CAR, Center for Automotive Research. His leading efforts with Jason Pakin from Auto Harvest to create a virtual site, a marketplace where automotive IP buyers and sellers come together. Pilot includes 50 members, the big 3 OEMs, suppliers, universities, Mott Foundation. There's 2 Japanese OEMs joining this year, but it's a physical website where people can put technology in both in the auto industry, outside the auto industry, that think the auto industry might want to use. Our goal is to try to mix it up, mix up the environment to see if there's something else that somebody else has that we can take and start using. We can license from others, or that we can partner together with. And then the second one is we just announced a Michigan Innovation Exchange Center. It's in the Ford's backyard. It's a facility. It's a physical marketplace where there'll be a technology showroom. Ford Land is the administrators of the program, but I'll show you a couple pictures in a minute. This Auto Harvest, this is the website. This is the beta site right now where other OEMs have listed, both foreign and domestic, have listed technology needs they have. And what we've done is we've gone in and seen if we have anything, or that we may need the same thing, and seeing if maybe we can do a joint development where we can partner with another company and bring our cost down, they can bring their cost down, and we can share and put our key technical experts together and fund it together so that we can develop the next generation technology that we need. This is the Motor City Innovation Exchange Center. Tech Shop, as you can see, is off to one side of the building. There's an auditorium there. There's going to be a technology showroom. There's going to be an exchange center there where people can come and talk and negotiate deals. There's Tech Town there, which is a local initiative. There's Tech Shop. There's Ford and Auto Harvest. Other OEMs are going to hopefully locate into this showroom within the next year. I don't know if you've ever been down to a place in Texas. They have, every year they have an event where people can bring all kinds of different kinds of innovation together in any industry you want to talk about to kind of get people talking, working with one another, to seeing if there's synergies to get partnerships going. This is our chance at it within the automotive industry. The other thing that's going on is that we are now a founding member of the IPXI. Just as New York is known for the New York Stock Exchange, the Chicago and Illinois wants to be known for the Intellectual Property Exchange. So we've met with the federal government, with the local government in Illinois and in Chicago, and there's a group of players that have come together, they're known as the IPXI, and they're building this marketplace where people can buy and sell technology under things called ULRs, unit licensing rights. And basically thinking, you're going to have speculators buying technology. We may list the technology that we think can be useful to other players. It'll be standard formats. You go and buy it, and then you have a right without having to go through a formal negotiation on a license deal to make it all happen. And there's several players out there. There's ourselves, there's Sony Corporation of America, Philips Electronics, and there's about another 30 different Fortune 500 companies I've been meeting with that are joining this effort as well. There's a bunch of universities that are listing their stuff with the Intellectual Property Exchange, and I won't go through the list. You can see them for yourself there. If your university is interested, you can actually send a note to info@ipxi.com. The more diverse the intellectual property that's in this marketplace, I think will be much more useful to angel investors, to other companies that may want to use that technology. And we find that this is another alternative to the tech transfers that a lot of the universities have. They see a value in this new exchange. It may take a couple while, but you've got to get this started early. So, we're dabbling in this, we're dabbling in a bunch of other things because, some of this stuff is going to take off, and we want to make sure we're on the leading edge of this stuff so that we're in there with the best of the best. We're also under development with a thing called a Global Technology Reserve. There's a number of other, there's 6 other founding members in addition to Ford that are working with this group that are talking to foreign countries and foreign we call them SMEs, but they're small manufacturing entities, where we'll make deposits of our technology into this marketplace. These people, the governments will be funding some of this for these SMEs, and the SMEs will be able to dabble in this stuff. There'll also be tech transfers, but basically we'll get interest on the technology we put into this marketplace for this global technology reserve. Once these companies develop it further where they can launch and use some of our tech transfers and some of the intellectual property, they'll come in and we'll put together a technology commercialization and licensing agreement with those SMEs to actually have them where they can sell the technology or sell the products that incorporate those technologies that were part of this GTR, the Global Technology Reserve. Still in development. We want to make sure we're on the leading edge. If I mention the names to you, I can't disclose the other names because there's still not a press release out on them. There is on one for us, so we could talk about it. But these are Fortune 500, and it's really the top. It's in the top 25, I can say. Those companies, the top 25 companies are looking at this. 6 of the top 25. What else are we doing? We're trying to expand our university efforts. That's why we're here today too. We find that when we have an issue, the best place to do is to work with our up and coming engineers and our professors from various schools. We're doing more technical alliance agreements with key universities. In some universities we give $30 million. Others we give $1 million to, and we try to specify what we were trying to develop. And work with them to develop new technology. We're working a lot more with Capital Venture Fund, angel folks. We used to have a Capital and Venture Fund. We had to shut it down when the economy took a dive in 2007. We're looking at bringing that back. A couple of the other OEMs already have Capital Venture Funds out there because you want to keep dabbling. The other thing was we're continuing to build our One Ford approach, making sure we're all connected together inside and outside the company. We're doing joint technology framework initiatives with several key Ford suppliers. We're in our 2nd year of launch, and it's really they come to the party with some technology, some engineers, some resources, both dollars and people and technology, and we have some stuff, and we try to put the two pieces together to make things happen. And that's working very well. We're finding that we're finding a lot lower cost by joining and teaming to develop issues. And what we try to do when we do that is that says, hey, if we bring 50% of the technology, they bring 50%. We'll allow them to use our technology on those select technologies. We'll grant them a license to sell their product to other companies, so that we can generate a revenue stream. We know people are always going to buy other competitor product vehicles. We want to get a piece of that action so we can take that money and dump it back in our business so we can keep building our technology. We're partnering with key technology developers, people that you wouldn't even think would be related to the auto industry. They're in there. Would you believe I had an opportunity to meet in Boston with a company that actually develops the fan technology for submarines to make sure they're quiet and it can be used to the power, get the right power generation in the water. We actually teamed up with them to develop fan blade technology for cooling of our Ford vehicles. So it's a great, you would think, why are we talking to a nuclear, or why are we talking to other companies in the shipbuilding industry? So that's basically, I got a bunch of other slides here. I got about 2 more minutes? Okay. Open innovation. It's amazing what's going on there. Now we get to the fancier pictures. Bill Ford had a quote here. No one company or industry alone will be able to develop the hardware and software that will be needed to create a sustainable transportation ecosystem. The world is changing in terms of automobiles and what automobiles are going to do down the road. And our chairman of the board recognized that, and he's gone on record, he's made in a lot of different presentations, is that we're looking for partners. We're looking to work with other folks. Nobody can do it alone in the next century. And then here's another form of IP that we license, we developed a patent on how to sell a vehicle in the internet that got granted by the patent office. And we're actually working, we've licensed it out to 2 companies, and we're talking to about 2 other companies to try to license this out as well. So it's amazing. What's next for Ford? We want to go further. That's even part of our tagline now. If you see our commercials and so on, it says go further. It's also a Waldo commercial to see if you can find us in the group. But the picture's not big enough. I got a 1-pager here. If something comes out where you have a technology, maybe you've thought of something for years and you want to try to do something, this is a useful resource page of where to go to find some resources to make things happen. Also, at the end of, on the bottom here, I said that, networking is key. I'm here, I gave you my business card. I'm here I want to mentor, I want to help. If I can be of any service to your universities or to the students, I'm here to help you. You're our future. It's going to be because of you what we're going to be able to do in the next century. So when I retire from Ford, I'd like to make sure that I have a good pension coming. And, and I want to drive those fun and creative vehicles that you're innovating. And who knows, even with this Masco innovation encounter, there may be something that comes out of there that we might want to use and work with Masco on that can create a partnership for us. So it's really all of us, how do we partner together? And I'm offering my services to be here as a useful resource to get you on your way. Great. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Hopefully it wasn't too bad of a lecture. But we want you to kind of get an idea of what inventions are, how to protect those inventions, what you can do with them, where the market's changing on how to commercialize technology. And one of the key things that we see is partnering. And that's why we can't stress it more and more, is that, make sure you take my business card, go to somebody in a different table this weekend, introduce yourself, exchange information, and get to know the other folks. And, make sure you get to know the quality people, the business people, the lawyers in your company you go work for one day, the HR people, because there may be something you have, a great idea that can help the purchasing out on or something. It might be a new creative way that might save some money for that company that you're working for and might be able to be used throughout the world. Great, thank you.